Hey everyone, welcome back. My name's Dustin Crace, and today we're going to do a game discussion. But before we get into that, you've probably noticed there being some slight changes around. The reason why there hasn't been a video for a while is because I actually moved. The girlfriend and I moved in together, and we're still in the process of getting everything put away. The game room's pretty much together. There's just a whole bunch of like totes and storage stuff in here as well that we still need to go through and figure out what needs to go to the storage unit. And yes, I said the dreaded word, storage unit. Some of the game room stuff, mainly like the display type stuff, like the collector's edition boxes and things like that, have gone into storage, and the games are all still here, except for the Atari. The Atari is in storage, and the Game Gear. No big loss there. But everything else is still here, and maybe once I finally get this place cleaned up and put together, we'll do another game room tour. We'll see how that goes. But anyway, it's been a while to do a game discussion because it's taken me a while to finish a game because I've been very busy with the move and getting everything organized and work and all that other stuff. But last night, I finally did it. I beat Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls on the PlayStation 4. And I had a ball with this game. I was actually thinking about putting it up because it was starting to feel like it was just a huge game. And then I said, no, I'm too close to the end. And I sat down and I beat it. And I was in the middle of like Act 3 when I was thinking about quitting it, which is about the halfway mark. And just decided to push on through and finish it. And I'm glad I did, because I really did enjoy my time with this. Now, a lot of people out there, some of my counterparts, Chance Doomwaves and Steven the Laggy Gamer, and Alex as well, and also Mike, they really love Diablo 3. And while this game I did have a lot of fun with, it's not going to get anywhere close to, say, like a Game of the Year type thing. It did bring back a lot of really nostalgic feelings, though, because it really reminded me a lot of the PlayStation 2 Baldur's Gate games. I really loved the Baldur's Gate games on the PlayStation 2, and just sort of that D&D experience, I guess. And it really kind of brought me back to those games, and that sort of, single-player loot fest type game really made me nostalgic for those games. And I actually think, I don't have those, do I? I think I should go out and find those. I think they're expensive, though. They might be expensive. I'm not sure. But I think they were also on the GameCube and on the Xbox as well. But I played them on the PS2. So this really took me back to a simpler time, I guess, the PS2 era. But, what can you say? It's Diablo 3, and this is like, I don't know, the fourth release of Diablo 3. I don't know, it just seems like every year another version of Diablo 3 comes out, and I've been getting kind of on Final Fantasy X, because there's been 3 re-releases now. There's been the Vita version, the PlayStation 3 version, and now the PlayStation 4 version. But I'm not getting on Diablo 3 that same way, because, I never bought the original version of Diablo 3, and I just kind of waited. And finally, this Ultimate Evil Edition came out, and I even waited on it. I waited for it to get cheap, and finally pulled the trigger on it and played it. And it was a nice palate cleanser between playing all these From Software games, because immediately before this I was playing Dark Souls 1. Now immediately after it I'm playing Dark Souls 2. So it was a nice change of pace, and I played the game on hard, and even on hard it was a cakewalk. And I do realize that there's still like 2 or 3 difficulty levels above that, and hardcore is insanely hard. But I don't know if I'll go back to it and do that. Maybe somewhere down the road, go back and maybe play as a different character and try to do the hardcore mode. But I don't see myself doing it anytime soon. So, yeah, this game, you pick your character. There's several different classes to pick from. I can't remember all of them right now. I went as a wizard, And I thought, man, I'm going to have a bad time as a wizard because wizards are traditionally weak. The wizard completely dominated. Good crowd control, which is a good thing to have in this type of game because you just get swarmed with enemies. I was able to pretty much, I mean, I only died like twice, and that was at the final boss. So, but it was a nice, relaxing time. Sometimes games like this where you can just storm through it. It really, it's really kind of a nice thing to do, as opposed to now that I'm playing Dark Souls 2 and every now and then you just get completely decimated and lose your progress. But a game that you can consistently progress through is a nice thing. So, talking about the storyline, to be honest with you, I skipped a lot of the storyline in this. It wasn't really the reason why I was playing it. That being said, if you get into the storyline, there is a lot here to do. There is the main storyline itself. There's NPCs to talk to. There's characters that have progressing storylines. And if you progress their storylines to a certain point, you get quests out of those storylines that you can find more powerful loot and things like that. So yeah, really the story, I just kind of stormed through it really fast. I didn't really get interested until it got to the end in Act 5, after you beat Diablo in Act 4, and then you have to go after Mathiel, who is on the cover here. I really liked his character design and the fact that he's sort of a fallen angel and all that kind of storyline stuff. So that was really cool. But for the most part of the game, if you've ever played like a game like this, or like a Baldur's Gate type game, you kind of know what the storyline, what to expect. A big evil and his army is out to destroy the world, and it's up to you to stop them. That's the basic gist of the storyline. There's twists and turns here and there, but it's not really like a JRPG, and I didn't really treat it like a JRPG. There's characters there, but they're not as memorable as a JRPG character would be, and that's kind of one of my it's one of my own personal sort of caveats, but I find the characters in JRPGs to be more memorable than in Western RPGs. That's not to be said that, if you enjoy the storyline, there's a lot here to enjoy, but for the most part, I just blew through it. I really got addicted to exploring the dungeons and finding more powerful loot, and that's the reason why you play this type of game, not so much for the storytelling. And you can kind of tell because it's written in a very sort of traditional Western fantasy style. It feels like, it reminds me of every bad D&D joke you see where like a bunch of kids are sitting around a table all dressed up in costumes saying thee and thou and talking in sort of old English, I guess. It kind of reminds me of that, the writing and the way the voice acting is done. The voice acting, a lot of the characters it's just kind of atrocious, and it feels like it's like a throwback to like PS2 era games where the voice acting was just really over the top and really I don't know, it just, the villains are all rah, 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 and, it's just, I don't know. It feels very old school, I guess, in terms of its voice acting. And maybe that's for tradition's sake. I don't know. I've never played a Diablo before this, so I don't really know what Diablo 1 and 2 sounded like. But compared to, like, voice acting in modern games, this feels a bit cheesy, but it's kind of a nostalgic type of cheese. So if you kind of crave like bad voice acting from the PS1 era or the PS2 era, this will be a nice throwback for you. Gameplay wise, this is where this game shines, and it's just a fun action hack and slash sort of RPG where you just go through these dungeons, you find more powerful loot, you equip the stuff, it changes your appearance. And you instantly can tell the stat difference when you do that. You have a multitude of attacks that are mapped to different buttons, and within each button you have like 4 or 5 different skills to choose from. So you can really mold your character to your style of play. I really enjoyed the wizard's sort of crowd control abilities. I liked to freeze enemies. I liked to turn my disintegrate into a cone to sort of deal damage to a multitude of enemies. it really you kind of find your own way to do it, and it really is kind of satisfying, you know. Someone's dog's barking. I don't know. It's not Duncan. I know that for sure. Uh, but yeah, and you just kind of move through all these dungeons, and I will say I did get a little bit of dungeon fatigue, but that's because I was really like, I was just, you know, I'd sit down and play this game for hours at a time, and you just go through one dungeon and you get kind of to the end of it and you realize there's really not all that much point to this dungeon. And that's kind of the point of the game, or one of the things I have a problem with the game. The environments just feel big for big's sake. There's a lot of dungeons where I was like, it really doesn't need to be this big other than to just sort of pad the game out. Even in like sort of even in dungeons, there's like sub dungeons, you know, you'll get to an like a marshy area, and then within that marshy area there might be 5 or 6 smaller dungeons to explore. So if you're into that kind of thing with exploring the dungeons, there's a lot to do, and if you are if you get addicted to equipping new items and, you know, seeing what stat differences you get and what bonuses you get and stuff like that, Diablo 3 is really for you, because there's so many pieces of equipment, and you can, I mean, just customize your character out completely. I've already kind of talked about the audio. The voice acting is very over the top, but kind of in that classical fantasy sort of way. It feels like, I don't know, it feels like if you go watch a bunch of people LARP, I guess, and they're very over the top, or if you watch people that really get into like Dungeons and Dragons and really get into their character and really act as their character, it kind of seems like that. So on the one hand, it's a bit cheesy, but on the other hand, it's kind of enjoyable. So you'll have that. As for the music, I really found the music to be, it's cool how it interacts with the game, but if you were to buy the Diablo 3 soundtrack and listen to it on its own, I feel like you'd be extremely bored with it. It's really just kind of ambient, really ambient music, kind of just, you know, horn flares that go nowhere and things like that. Just, you know, just strings that just kind of, you know, wave through the ether, I guess. There's no really like theme or anything like that. It just feels like a bunch of ambient drones and things like that. So every now and then you'll get like a song that kind of ramps things up, but for the most part it's just kind of ambient in the background soundtrack. So it doesn't really, it's not something I'm going to rush out to buy. Let's put it that way. As far as the graphics go, I don't know what this looked like when it first came out, but it looks really good on the PS4. Probably doesn't push the PS4 very hard, I wouldn't think. You know, the draw distance, I guess, I don't know, I wouldn't really want to say draw distance, but the position of the camera to the position of the dungeon floor, it's really pulled back, so everything's very small on the screen until you get to the very large enemies. But, you know, I'm pretty sure that this isn't like Bloodborne or something like that that's really kind of pushing the hardware. If Bloodborne even pushes the hardware, who knows what the PS4 can do. We're really kind of in the early days. But, you know, for what it is, it looks very pretty. And I don't know how old this game actually is in terms of when it first came out. I don't really see a date other than 2014. But this has been out for a while, because it started off, you know, on the PC, on the PlayStation 3, and then there was another re-release, and it's gone on from there. But, yeah, it's starting to drop in price. I found this for $30, and if you've never played Diablo 3, this is a great way to do it. I really enjoyed my time with it. If you've played, well, hell, I mean, Steven's rebought the game like 4 times. I don't know. It seems like every time the new version comes out, people do trade it in for the new version, and I guess that is a testament to how good the game is, or at least how much it sucks people in who do enjoy the game. But for me, I really did enjoy Diablo 3. I had a great time with it. It brought back a lot of old memories of both playing the PlayStation 2 and also of playing Dungeons and Dragons with my friends and just kind of getting ridiculous. And I don't know, it just brought back a lot of old memories, because the spells are kind of like Magic Missile and Disintegrate and stuff are from Dungeons and Dragons, and you know, some of the enemies look like Dungeons and Dragons enemies. So it's kind of one of those things where like fantasy books are so indebted to you know, Lord of the Rings, and fantasy games are so indebted to Dungeons and Dragons, which is indebted to Lord of the Rings, and everything kind of just shares that same pool. So if you like that kind of stuff, you're going to be into this. It's not like Japanese games where they kind of create their own crazy world. You know, Western RPGs tend to draw a lot from Dungeons and Dragons and Lord of the Rings and things like that. So anyway, really enjoyed it, but I don't think it's going to crack anywhere near the top of the Game of the Year list. It's just a fun game to put in and play. Probably should have played it in like 2 settings, not 2 game settings, but like play like I do with Zelda games. I play a big chunk of them and then I let them rest for a while and then I finish them out, because I was kind of getting fatigued with the game of talking to all the NPCs. Like I just blow through the script and not even care, and I wouldn't even completely explore the dungeons. I would just kind of like find the next level and then go to that, which, you know, in games like Persona Q and Etrian Odyssey, I'm always exploring those dungeons and getting 100% on the floors. But for some reason in this game, I got fatigued, so I stopped. But anyway, Diablo 3, really good game, really great game, really great experience, and I'm glad I finally picked it up after hearing everybody talk about how much they enjoyed playing it. So anyway, that is it for this video. I have some ideas for some new videos because I want to try to get out of this game discussion pickups rut that I've been in. I want to try to, you know, really do some different things. Some shorter videos where I discuss little topics. I have ideas for a couple things that just recently happened in the gaming world. Yeah, so hopefully once I get everything situated, we can do more videos. We're gearing up to do another episode of another gaming podcast. Going to be here soon. Again, that's kind of been put on hold a little bit because of Steven's schedule and my, you know, doing all this and stuff. So now we're getting to a point where we can get back together and do stuff. So it's going to be good times. Chance, I don't know what Chance has been up to. He's been busy, but I don't know what he's been up to. He's been kind of mum. Mum's a word. I don't know. But anyway, what else? Anything else? Anything else? I don't know. I think we're good. That is it. I'm gonna go play some Dark Souls 2. Get that done. Redemption. We'll see how that game discussion goes. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.